Well, the Supreme Court of India modified its order on stray dogs, which was given on the 11th of August. This modification came after the order faced huge criticism. In the new ruling delivered by a three-judge bench, the stray dogs will be sterilized and immunized, after which they can be released back to their original locations. On this, the court also made an exception, stating that the dogs with aggressive behavior or those with rabies will not be released back. The bench also made it clear that the earlier order shall continue with the modifications that have been stated. Along with this, the Supreme Court also directed the Municipal Corporation of Delhi to create designated feeding areas in municipal wards, banning public feeding of strays outside these zones with legal consequences for violators, and also stated that a helpline number will be released. The bench also indicated that it will formulate a national policy on stray dogs after giving hearings to all the states. This modification raises questions on the health of dogs after they go through the sterilization procedures. We'll talk about this with our guest. Joining us on the show is Advocate Ashwini Dubey, advocate on record from the Supreme Court; Divya Puri, co-founder of the Karan Puri Foundation; Dr. Avnish Narayan Mathur, animal rights activist, also with us on the program; Abhijit Mitra, animal activist, also with us on the program. Thank you everyone for being a part of this conversation. Ashwini, I'll begin with you. Well, first up, your impression of this order by the Supreme Court. Of course, it's a lot more humane. It keeps realism in mind, Ashwini, that it is not possible to pick all these dogs up and stuff them in shelters which don't even exist.
It's a good order for the reason that the Honorable Supreme Court has categorized three categories. One, that the dogs which are affected with the rabies, they should not be released. Number two, the dogs which are healthy, they should be sterilized and they should be sent to the designated places where from they were picked up. And three is, though the aggressive behavior dogs, they should be kept within the dog shelters which has been made within the municipalities. See, the interim arrangement. What has happened? The Honorable Justice J.B. Parliwala bench on 11th August have said the dogs should be picked up, kept in the shelter homes, and they should not be released in any case. But in order to maintain a balance, because the Animal Protection Act is also in place, ABC rules are also in place. So Honorable Supreme Court, in order to protect and maintain a balance, and also in order to give the sufficient time to the municipal authorities of all over the country, because we have to look into and see that the scope of this order, the order which has been passed by three judges bench today, have been widened from the last order. Earlier order was within the Delhi and NCR, and this has, the Honorable Supreme Court has called for all the files, all the matters which are pending in different high courts. Now, 2-3 things which are very important. At the same time, Supreme Court is concerned about the health, life and liberty of the dogs. Honorable Supreme Court is also concerned about the life and liberty of the citizens, because the feeding them at a designated place, of course, would reduce the problem. Keeping them away from where the children play, entry exit points and a staircase, of course, that would be sufficient enough to ensure that the dogs are not beating the normal citizens. Now, clear of public street, pedestrians or common passes is also one of the important points which this Honorable Supreme Court has kept in the mind. But one thing is here, in order to maintain the balance, because one has to look into which dog is aggressive. Whose responsibility is this? We are not, the common citizens don't know which dog is aggressive, which dog is not aggressive. For that, there has to be some experts. And for that, that is why Honorable Supreme Court said, look, you have to decide, the municipal authorities would decide that which dog is aggressive, because the rules are already in order. It is not that the municipal laws does not provide that the dog cannot be picked up. Dogs can be picked up. They should be sterilized. Delhi High Court in the earlier judgment also said that after immunization, they should be released back. Now herein it is to be looked into that whether the intent behind the order is salutary and whether it works towards protecting the citizens at large, one, from the attacks by the aggressive and rabid stray dogs, and two, whether the animals' welfare is taken into consideration. So I think it's a balanced order. Let's see what would happen after 8 weeks, because the Honorable Supreme Court has also asked the municipal authorities that you have to maintain and protect and make three things. The shelter homes, so that if there is any inefficient, inadequate shelter homes will be in enough number. Because in any case, all the dog lovers or who were protecting the animal rights, they were saying there is no shelter home, itna 1,000 crore lagega, utna 1,000 crore lagega. So court said, okay, enough, fair enough, you take the time, but ultimately the fate would be decided when this matter would be disposed of. So it's an interim protection, and interim protection, I think there's a balanced approach. Vinit Bhai, over to you.
Okay, Divya Puri, do you think this is a balanced approach? And considering everything that has transpired in the last few days and weeks, it is important to understand that there is a gap in the way this administration, or rather the administration around stray dogs and animals, has been working since for decades now.
I think it's a balance order because it gives the responsibility and accountability on all the stakeholders. ABC rules have been upheld again. ABC rules talk about the same thing, that you pick up, you sterilize, you vaccinate, you release. If there is an aggressive dog, there is a clear protocol as to how an aggressive dog has to be identified and how you rehabilitate the dog in these rehabilitation centers and release them back. The point is, at this point of time, the shelters, which was the first order, could not be even done practically on ground because Delhi has no shelters. Delhi has 20 ABC units. Functioning of an ABC unit is very different from the shelters, and this order very clearly states that we are not equipped to deal with dogs being put in shelters. So I think it's a very good effort that the court has made to strike a balance between both the dog lovers and people who have issues with dogs. And this will just maybe increase the amount of sterilization and vaccination happening, and maybe we can look at relief in the coming months with the program being ramped up and more dogs being sterilized and vaccinated.
All right. Dr. Mathur, sterilization, is that the answer to these issues? And what is that likely to do to the population of dogs in our country over the next few years?
Well, sterilization is certainly the best possible solution to control the population of dogs in the country. However, apart from sterilization, the problem of rabies is another issue. So the government should bring out a nationwide program on mass vaccination of the dogs. As said by the court, they have the intention of creating a national policy regarding the same. So we welcome that. But apart from sterilization, I think this judgment completely ignores one more aspect, that is the rising number of animal cruelty cases happening in all over India. We have data. We have seen many news reports, and I'm running an animal shelter myself. I have seen we have such cases where animals where humans are inflicting unnecessary torture and pain on these animals. The dogs are being crushed on the roads by the vehicles, over-speeding vehicles. Some people mercilessly beat them up. And so the court has completely ignored this thing. I agree that there is a need for a helpline number, but why for the humans only? Why not for the animals also? If someone sees anyone is seeing a violation of these orders, the court has stated to set up a helpline number. Right, they can call up and inform against the animal lover. But why there is no helpline number if an animal lover is seeing a cruelty happening in front of his eyes? So I do welcome, and it is an interim relief for all the animal lovers and the dogs of the country. But the court has completely ignored one more aspect of this whole issue, that is animal cruelty.
Mr. Mitra, do you agree with Dr. Mathur that the court has ignored animal cruelty?
I think animal cruelty we need to, redefine. We also need to approach Supreme Court with the cruelty cases on animals, not only on dogs, but all the animals. And I think that representation has not been done. I think we are just right now has been more vocal in not the dogs should not go to the shelters and confined be there. So there are a lot of issues in animal welfare, and there are a lot of things to be done in animal welfare. And I think I agree with Avnish. I think and to add to that, I think we don't even have a government veterinary hospitals with medicines, doctors. We have SPCS, but we don't have any X-ray, ultrasound. There is no helpline for animals. I have buried 4 dogs right now in the last 2 days. There's no help. You can understand that there are a lot of issues and it needs to be addressed at a very large level. Right now, the matter is a very different thing, but and we are not able to change the 50 rupees fine. which was, I think, there since 1960s. So if anybody does any animal cruelty on any animal, he just walks away by paying 50 rupees. And this is very strange in a country like India in 2025. And ABC is not the only solution. ABC, I think, to start with, I guess we need to have ABC has been there in the last 30 years. And if we blame MCD government, we should look at ourselves also what we have done. The I think we haven't done much in the vaccination part. We should have approached. I think the animal lovers or activists in 60s, 70s, 80s should have, I think, approached more on the mass vaccination of dogs, because why this issue has come to Supreme Court is because people are very scared of dog bites, rabies, and so I think if the mass vaccination has been there in the last 40, 50 years of dogs, that scare will not be there. So I think there are a lot of issues to be handled. This is one of the issues. That's what I can say.
Ashwini, what about the changes in law, which largely, precipitate cruelty towards animals? They have not been modified. They have not been changed. It's very easy to talk about the menace of strays, but it's equally important to understand that the infrastructure, the facilities, the investment, the focus which certain government agencies were tasked with when it comes to animal protection have not done their jobs.
Yes, Vinit bhai, very candidly you have pointed out that the authorities, because responsibility lies with the authorities, citizens come second. The law says that there should be an agency, and that agency is of course well in place, but agency has failed to discharge its duties. One. Two, as you rightly said, that cruelty has to be looked into. It has two meanings. One, the knowing cruelty, and the second, that when you, in order to protect yourself, you commit some cruelty. Because we have seen the cases, surge in the dark by cases we cannot rule out that those who love the dog, they don't love the humans. It's a fact. And we should admit it. And it is so. The videos say so. Even a single video is sufficient enough to say that a dog lover does not love the humans. We don't know massive videos. But here, yes, cruelty should not be committed either to any living creature. And that is why the laws are in place. Any animal is duly protected. Well, by two things are here. One, in order to save the humans, because the way that it is surging, the way dog bite cases are increasing, the way we have seen that in 2024 itself 37 lakhs dog bite cases. Then some animal activists were sitting somewhere, they said, 5 घाव को आप एक जैसा कैसे पढ़ रहे हैं? What kind of answer is this? There has to be a balance. Vinit bhai, my right cannot come to be executed at your place. My liberty is not at your place. My liberty is at my place. That is why when the designated place was implemented, and why I should feed next to your door. Number one. Number two, why? Because we live in a community where we have coexistence. Inclusiveness is required. But that inclusiveness with the dog and humans both should be compared in a rational way. घरों में क्या होता है विनीत भाई, लोग अपने घर के सामने कुत्ते को खिलाएंगे और अगला आदमी आएगा तो उससे बदतमीजी करेंगे. I know many cases, many people have sent me the legal notices कि अपने घर में 6-7 कुत्तों को adopt करके लगे. People are afraid of going to their own houses. So this kind of menace should be avoided. One, and two, those who create cruelty with those animals, they should also be prosecuted. So the laws has to be properly placed. Now, why I see two things. One, when a dog is taken to the shelter home, dog is properly cared, dog is properly vaccinated. There are authorities and people 24/7 monitoring to those dogs or any other animal, so that if some dog is infected, is weak, is suffering from any problem, that can be looked into and treated well. Because the dog lovers, they feed the leftover food and then they talk about the rights. That right should be curtailed at least to the extent कि designated place पे आप खाना खिलाइए. RWs are saying, we self witness every day. Vinit bhai, I and you too have a discussion. आप घर से बाहर walk करते हुए निकले थे. You too were affected by this. I myself was surrounded by the dog. Somehow God saved me. तो ऐसा नहीं कह सकते कि dogs को बिल्कुल आपको बिस्किट लेकर ही चलना है, दूध लेकर ही चलना है, खाना लेकर ही चलना है, नहीं तो आपको अटैक करेंगे. So that is why the court has to say, when there is an increase in cruelty towards humanity, the cruelty that should also be stopped. And cruelty to the animals, that should also be stopped. That is why there has to be sufficient enough number shelter homes, and municipality should appoint the task force with the experts and doctors who should see कि कौन सा dog aggressive है, उसको कैसे pick up करना है. Then only we can say the balance approach.
Okay,
But
fair enough. Divya, do you think that there is also scope here for the private sector to come in?
I think yes, there is, but I would want to start with saying that the fear of rabies is something which is highly hyped up by the media, and when we talk of number of dog bite cases, you have to understand that these dog bite cases have been reported on the number of vaccinations that are put. So if I'm talking about 10,000 dog bites, they are actually 10,000 vaccinations and not actual bites, because how a government official is counting these vaccines are one vaccine is equal to one dog bite, whereas for one dog bite you take 5 vaccinations. So there it automatically reduces the number of bites which have been reported. Also, we have to understand that we are entrusting the responsibility of making shelters on a body which failed to do ABC for 25 years in our country. MCD could not successfully carry out ABC for 24. It's starting in 2001. So you think that they will be able to make shelters, identify aggressive dogs, and look after them in shelter? Whoever is in favor of a shelter here, I would request them to please go visit the nearest animal shelter to see how cruelly these animals are treated. Let alone food.
Okay.
Making shelters is the solution. The solution for every issue is very clearly laid out in the ABC 2023 Act, and whoever has an issue, I would request them to please go back, read the ABC 2023 Act, and then
Okay,
come back.
Divya, there
and
seems
argue
to be a
with the
problem with your
shelters
connection,
on
but
the
Dr.
solution.
Mathur, the question also arises that, it's one thing to be humane, but it's also important to understand that cities have hygienes when it comes to strays. Cities have a character, cities have a separate space for animals. And that is the model that India also wants to adopt, because we want to be Viksit Bharat by 2047. Isn't it a good start that the administration as well as several agencies will now focus towards actually creating some sort of an infrastructure or a module which will address these problems?
Yes, I completely agree that there should be more hygiene, and taking care of that, the Supreme Court there should be sapping of regulated feeding areas, and it is a responsibility of the dog lovers also to feed the dogs in the designated feeding areas, right? So this is one aspect, and but we cannot deny that dogs have always been a part of our lives. They have been a part of our streets and a part of our culture. So we cannot separate and alienate them totally from us, right? We cannot make dog pounds and shelters outside the cities and think that they will be well taken care of there, right? So I am totally against the ideas of keeping healthy dogs in dog pounds and shelters. The dog pounds and shelters should be a treatment and recovery center where they must be sent for medical treatment and rehab and recoveries. It's not a place for healthy dogs to be sent, because scientifically also, if you keep a large number of animals, healthy animals, in a limited space, it will give birth to certain kinds of viruses, and those like the COVID virus, and that such kind of viruses can be spread to human population also. So we cannot take that kind of grave risk when it comes to animals, right? Second thing, the court has has kept a very gray area when it comes to determining who should be an aggressive dog and what is an aggressive behavior, right? There is a need to establish benchmarks which will decide that if, a particular dog is aggressive or not. I'm sharing one of my personal experiences. In the last 1 week, people have complained all the dogs in my street are aggressive, they are biting. I'm requesting the authorities to take them out. So is this the way that should be we should be functioning, labeling all of them as aggressive? No, it will result to mass culling and mass relocation of dogs. So there should be a proper, if needed, we NGOs or animal activists are ready to collaborate with the government. We are ready to share our inputs, but the government and the courts should be willing to listen to our part of story also, and take our opinion, because we have been working on this issue for so many years, right? There should be a veterinary doctor who, number one. Number two, there should be an animal behaviorist who will determine or suggest that yes, this particular dog is aggressive in nature. Only then that dog should be isolated and kept in confinement, not based on any kind of frivolous complaint by a random animal hater, right? So there should be benchmarks which will decide who should be an aggressive behavior. No, it should not be done in a haphazard manner. That is what I'm saying. Otherwise,
Okay. All right.
result in more cruelties.
All right. Mr. Mitra, how are you placed when it comes to these suggestions and the fact that it's about time that
Yeah.
strays and dogs need to find a system. It's hard to say that sometimes, because we are still grappling with systems which work for us as a civilization, and yet we're expecting these systems to work for our dogs.
Right, right. So I think in a lot of developed countries it has worked. India is a very large country, and since 20,000 years, I think the dogs are with us. In the last 20 years, 25 years, we are looking at solution, and a lot of voices are coming from the society that said menace. Earlier, I think there was a saying that "ek roti gai ki, ek roti kutte ki," and so we need to have a very holistic solution. We can't just depend on one solution or something. We need to have encourage a lot of. We need to curb, put a lot of penalty or high taxes on the people who buy the breed dogs, and look for adoption, more appeal for adoption of these indie dogs. If 1/16th of our country people adopts this indie dog, I guess there will be no street dog menace or stray dog menace, and they will also get. I think that's a very far from reality situation, but it is improving. But so we, I think a lot of things needs to be done. And I think, as Ashwani mentioned, I think we are also concerned about human population as well. We are not dog lovers are not. If any dog bites or any, we are also concerned. And see there's a lot of issue for the vaccine availability for the people. The people who are working as maids or laborers. I happen to go to all the animal cruelty cases, and they have just killed and bitten their dog to death because they 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 go to the hospital, government hospitals. They say there is no vaccine available for rabies. So then they go to private doctors. They charge 400 rupees, and if you apply 400 into 5 vaccines, so it will cost over 2,000. They get furious, they get anger, and the anger goes on the poor dog. So the system has to work on both sides. It has to. We need to address the. I think rabies vaccination should be done for dogs at a very mass scale, and we should work with the society. There's a very. I think we should work with AOAs, RWs. There should be a healing touch and awareness that we are vaccinating the dogs. No need to fear. So I think we need to form groups. We need to form. I think we need to have a very constructive way in animal welfare going forward, because I think the way this situation is alarming, I think it will be very hard to control through only one solution. So
All
we
right.
need to look at very holistically a lot of things, and keeping in mind the human population also, that they don't suffer. And
Fair enough.
yeah.
All right, we've run out of time. Appreciate everybody who joined us on this important conversation. It indeed is a landmark judgment, as well as something to look forward to when it comes to the rehabilitation as well as the safety of dogs. We take a short break. We'll be right back.